right, we are winding down our coverage here at the PDAC, and joining me now is Joanne Freeze. She is the founder and president of Candente Copper and Gold, with projects in Peru and Mexico. And welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
Nice to meet you. Happy
Very
to
nice
have
to meet you,
on.
Danielle.
You know, there's not many women CEOs and founders of mining companies in this industry. Yeah. So happy to talk with you today,
Thank
Joey.
you. Thank you for inviting me.
First and foremost, how did you get your start? Your background is in geology.
Yes, I'm a geologist. Well, I actually studied I love sciences in high school, but it took me quite a while. It took me 2 degrees to figure out what I wanted to, or that I could have a career as a scientist. But once I took my first geology course, it just grabbed me. I love rocks, and I just love the whole way that it's very scientific, but there's a lot of creative, you have to imagine what could be down there, because you only see what's on the surface, right?
And you have to be very strong and not scared of encountering bears and whatnot. We'll get into that in a second. But first, tell us more about Candente. You founded it in the 90s.
Yes. I lived in Peru. I went there with my kids when they were very little. My husband was working there. There was enough work that I could go work half-time. Peru was just opening up to an international investment. Fujimori just had the terrorists under control. So I went there, and I ended up consulting. I did a lot of due diligence, like the pre-43-101 style of reports, so protect the investors. And I had several clients there. One of my clients was Arequipa Resources, and through the discovery of Pierina, which I never discovered it. I was just there to make sure the sampling was done right and due diligence. But I got to watch it go from, first of all, Peru itself went from Yanacocha being discovered, and my first report when I was working on Pierina said we thought at Yanacocha they had 3 to 5 million ounces of gold. Of course, they have over 50. Oh, and we thought they might be underestimating. Okay. They have over 50. Antamina was discovered, huge, one of the largest mines in the world. So Peru was really just opening up. And some investors were there and visiting and said, hey, you love Peru, you've got some good contacts, why don't you start your own company? And I'm like, oh, my kids are too young, and maybe one day. But then I realized opportunities like that don't come every day, and everybody supported me. But I started the company with Peruvian, Freddie Wonke, who named Pierina after his daughter, and of course mines take many people to discover, so he worked with Catherine McLeod and David Lowell. Right. And we started Candente initially to look for another Pierina, so just satellite imagery, get on a horse, go look at the rocks. But a copper project came our way. We won it in an auction for $75,000. That's Canariaco. And we've to date spent $62 million on it. We've got 10 billion pounds of copper. Pre-feasibility done.
10 billion pounds of copper.
Yeah. 750 million tons measured and indicated, and about 930 when you add inferred.
What stage are you at, and when can?
Well, we know from our pre-fees that at 250 copper, the NPV is over $1 billion, and it's a 17%, over 17% IRR. We do have at 290 copper, the capex meets the NPV meets the capex, which is 1.6 billion each. But we have 2 other porphyries within 5 kilometers, so we think it would be good to drill those off first, not to necessarily resource level, but see what's there. Yeah. But we've been stalled out for few years now on the permitting and stuff like that.
So Candente means red hot.
Yeah, it's candescent. So the idea was use a Spanish word that everybody can say, and when you say red hot gold, or red hot copper.
So let me ask you, did your kids, when you moved to Peru, just think you were the coolest mom in the world?
No, they thought I was a real gork. I took them one day to Canariaco, and they thought they were going to Machu Picchu. Okay. But I said, no, we'll just go somewhere else in the mountains, bring your hiking boots and your sleeping bags. And when we got to the airport and they realized I was meeting Freddie Wonke, my partner, they said, you're taking us to work, you can't do that. And I said, what are you going to do about it? And they marched off down the mountain, and they said, you look like a real geek with your cruiser vest and your... But by the time we left the project, they loved it. They played soccer with all the local community people on the little soccer field, helicopter pad, and had a great time.
Experiences for a lifetime. Yes. So how do you navigate the waters? Obviously, we look around the room. There's not a lot of women in the room. Do you feel that you've encountered certain challenges or things as a woman CEO in this business? Or
I really don't.
Yeah.
I mean, you stick out more because there aren't that many women. But so if you do something stupid, okay, you might get noticed a little more. But if you do something a little bit smart, you might get noticed more too. So, but everybody's here to make money. Everybody's here to make a discovery.
That's the common denominator, right?
I always tell people, do what you do best. Yeah. Do what grabs you, and forget about your gender, and the rest just comes along.
So how about as part of your team? Do you look to include more women in part of your team? If you find women geologists, or do you try to encourage women to enter this field?
Absolutely. I love to do any mentoring I can, and speaking at various things, and of course just the way I talk to people. But yeah, I always encourage. I have a lot of women who've come to join me. Not so much geologists. I mean, we have lots of women geologists, but they're already kind of doing things themselves. Yeah. But what I love doing is finding a woman who doesn't necessarily have a career, and doesn't have, has enough education, but not necessarily MBAs or anything. Right. Bringing them into the business and just working with them, and just helping them develop themselves to whatever they want to be in the business. And just giving them opportunities. But we all work really, really hard, and I'm always there with them to just like make sure they can come to me at any time, and they have all the resources, whether it's lawyers or geologists or.
Your kids did not follow in your path, though.
No.
So I don't know what they saw that made them think, okay, this is not for me. Now you must have some crazy experiences working, in the bush in Peru. I heard there were a lot of bear encounters. Is this true? Is this just an urban legend I'm hearing from people? Or? There
weren't that many, but there were some critical ones that made me do certain things, and that would be when my first summer in the bush in '79. The company I worked for had a mauling the year before, so insisted we carry rifles. But when you carry a rifle plus your hammer, rock hammer, plus your clipboard, and your backpack, it's too many things to carry. So eventually your rifle gets left somewhere where you need it most, and then the person who's closest to it might not be a good shot. So after, very sadly, a girlfriend of mine got mauled one summer, then several of us decided 44 Magnums, you put it on your hip, you always know where it is, and yeah. And
Joanne Freeze, you are the real deal, and I would not want to mess with you, but congratulations on your success, and we look forward to hearing more news from Candente.
Congratulate me when we actually make money for shareholders.
Well, let me ask you this before.
Which we have done along the way, but we're kind of in a very tough spot right now, but it's coming back. Yeah.
You feel good about 2019?
I really do. Peru, in our case, we've got two really good assets, one in Mexico, one in Peru. Really solid. Peru, we already talked about. In Mexico, the gold has a past producer of 8 million ounces gold equivalent. Not too many people can talk about that, sitting on exploration targets of that. So, hey, if I even find another 2 million ounces, we'll be very happy. But I know the Peruvian government's good. Mexico, we're working well with people, so. Yeah.
All right. Well, Joey Freeze, thank you so much. It was really a pleasure meeting you.
Very nice to meet you.
And happy PDAC.
Yeah, and you.
And thank you for watching. We'll have more for you on Kitco.com.